I do not like some of the traditional things that are said in astrology. The I know, I see, I do, I be, I whatever. You know, I don't think these are very helpful a lot of the time. You need more than one phrase. You need a whole 2 or 3 sentences to really get the idea across. So I have tried to combine here a little bit of description of each of these 12 sides of life. And I'm going to kind of go around the zodiac now rather briefly, discussing how we would you know, something about each of these as a part of our life. Remember, they're all important, they're all necessary, they're all valuable, they're all good, constructive, but they do conflict by their nature, and we can either have problems from the sheer fact of that conflict, or we can have problems from excesses if we are overdoing something and therefore neglecting another part of life. That can also be a problem. So a serious imbalance is another source of problems in life. Either conflict between these different parts of ourselves, of life, and serious imbalance. Now, in terms of the philosophical premises behind the basic approach, personally, I do not think the planets are doing anything. I think that they are a very convenient way to see the cosmic order because they're part of it and they're visible. That does not mean they create the order, any more than that clock is making time when it tells us it's 2 o'clock. It is not creating time. It is marking it, registering it. And in the same way, the planets are showing us, marking, registering, symbolizing the order of the cosmos at any given moment. And I think we come to birth when we fit. That is, we have created our own nature in past lives. We come back when we fit to go on growing. So it's a matter of a mirror, not a mold. We're not dumped into life and forced to be what we are, but we come in and get a chance to look at ourselves in the mirror and say, oh, is that what I'm doing? Well, what do I want to do about that? How can I express that in a way that'll be more satisfying, more comfortable, more effective? And one of my favorite examples is to go back to twins again, of evidence, I think, for the fact that this is a mirror and not a mold. One set of twins that we had some issues back were born 10 minutes apart, and one was quite normal, and the other one had some physical defects. Had a cleft palate and an extra rib. And of course the cleft palate requires surgery. They're not critical defects. I understand an extra rib is not that uncommon, but still it was a defective body. Any good astrologer could look at those 2 charts and tell which is which. You didn't have to be an expert even. They both had a Mars-Saturn square, and they both had a Venus-Jupiter trine. But for one twin, Mars was right on the ascendant, so it put that angle in very close aspect to the conjunction with Mars and square Saturn. With the other, the Jupiter-Venus trine was in closer favorable aspect to the ascendant. So, pretty obvious, you know. This one's got an easier road. Now, does anybody care to tell me how 10 minutes difference in birth time could create an extra rib or a cleft palate? I mean, that's pretty absurd. Those things were there long before the babies were born. They existed in utero, those physical conditions. But they came out where they fit, where the picture showed in the sky. No way that the sky did it. So it's that kind of experience that I think is supportive evidence for this being a mirror, and then we take the power back into our own hands. We have to stop blaming the planets. We can't say, oh, it's because Mercury's retrograde or Mars made me lose my temper. But at the same time, taking responsibility means taking power. If we're dealing with an inside job, if it's our character we're talking about, as I think it is, we can change it. We created it and we can change it. But the more we understand ourselves, the more effectively we change it. So astrology is a great tool for insight, self-awareness, and effective growth.